Testing mic check.
Sounding pretty good.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So sorry for all of the technical difficulties. We had some time trying to figure out the audio and game time, but we are live with the playoffs between the Omega Gaming Goobers and ID Neon in the elimination bracket. Both teams trying to fight for the chance to stay alive in the Targon Season 18 playoffs.
Yep, super excited for the game. Unfortunately, we have missed some of the early game, but that is all good. We're going to catch you guys up really quick. The difference between team comps that we highlighted was that ID Neon is going to have a lot of their own go buttons. They have a lot of engage tools available to them, and Omega Gaming Goobers are going to have to respond to their engages as we see a shockwave in the mid lane.
Yep, Heppo taking heavy pressure there. One more available charge of the Spirit Rush, but just 1 HP away from taking it down. Marzion will go down to the towers. We've got simultaneous fights in the mid lane and the top lane. Sourcewalker now under pressure from OP Killswitch, looking for the finish, while I'm Down is getting chased by Joss. Joss just needs one more Q to land it. Does do so. Sourcewalker gets out with their life, and what was a 3-0 lead gets turned around, ultimately in a 1-for-1 trade across the map.
Yep, volatility across the map here. And right now what we're seeing is something we highlighted in draft. Unfortunately, we were muted for the pregame talks, but the Jax jungle is usually a very resource-intensive champion. Needs to get the full clear off, needs to farm a whole lot of camps, and then hopefully find some action at the end of the full clear. Whereas OP Killswitch on the Zac this time around is really looking to sack his own resources and play for his lanes. And so far, it looks like that has been done to great effect, as we see another Chain of Corruption used to burn confused cleanse there in the bot lane. Sourcewalker finishing up some camps, and it looks like they might be preparing for a 4-man in the bot lane.
Yeah, they want to get the shutdown on the Lucian, who has already finished out that mythic item. Engage going on to the bot lane. Katsu taking a lot of damage there. One more auto will finish the stun onto Brain, but will not quite find it. Sourcewalker covering their bot lane. Marzion on the side. The charm does land, but the follow-up not quite there. They're looking potentially for a continuation of the dive. No, just going to call it off here. Lots of plates being traded back into the mid lane. No kill to be found.
Yeah, no, the Goobers trying to aggress there, trying to get something back for themselves, but the situation is already so dire with Lucian Nautilus having full control down here. Kraken Slayer already completed from the 2 earlier kills he was able to pick up for himself, so they just shrug off the 4-man, and it looks like the Goobers are unable to really get a foothold in this game. We'll see if Joust has anything to say about that.
Yeah, we did have a 4-man dive attempted once, and here we go once again. This is the second time now. Lucian, no cleanse here. There is a lot of CC going down onto Marzion. There is a flash coming out as well, and none of the CC is going to land, but Nautilus does get stunned up by the Braum. Can't dodge that auto attack, so ended up getting one back, but at the price of a TP and continuous waves being lost mid.
Yep, we'll see Heppo push that in for the punish, and Zac is getting some very important camps on himself to sort of keep pace with the Jax. We'll see if the Zac is able to find something here.
Yep, Shockwave going to try and disengage, but not going to be enough disengage there as Heppo picks that one up easily. Killswitch finding a nice dive in from the corner.
Yeah, really, really nice play coming in from Killswitch here, finding a lot of angles on the map to become activated. Heppo, really nice for him to be able to push and have his jungler just visit his lane after the dust settles from the teleport play that Goobers made for themselves. More trading the top lane, but there is a dragon on the map.
There is a dragon on the map, and there is also a lot of plates going down mid. We saw those roams are costing Marzion here in the mid lane, now down 30 CS, and all 5 plates going over to Heppo. This is a very scary Orianna.
Yeah, we'll see if either team is going to be able to establish any kind of control. Pink Ward's being dropped by Viscaria here on the Braum. They do have to show up to some of these objectives first and play around vision, because they don't have sort of the brute force tools that something like Nautilus, bolstered by a Zac, can really kind of blitz their way in here. If they feel confident, you know they're going to take it.
Yeah, saving grace for the Goobers is that they are able to set up first here. Heppo very low on mana and did not have the chance to buy yet. The charm landing onto Brain, but a nice Dredge Knight is going to knock up 4 members there. Brain just barely getting out with their lives. Killswitch maybe looking for the re-engage on the side. Gets a 2-man knockup with the Zac, and there's an immediate double teleport coming in from both top laners. Flash from the Zac is going to pick up Ketu as well. Killswitch here getting the second kill of the engagement. Sourcewalker trying to disengage Joss, now finding himself in a 1v4. Gets knocked up by the shockwave, taken down by Killswitch, getting another double kill there. Now 3-0 on this Zac, and it is all coming up ID Neon on this dragon fight.
Killswitch is absolutely smurfing right now. His engages, his gank angles have been really, really crisp. He seems to be farming at all the right times, so his team is firmly in a commanding position in this game. They're going to pick up the dragon. Dragon number 1 fell over to the Goobers after some full clear action from Sourcewalker, but it looks like ID Neon establishing a very firm foothold in this early mid-game transition.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely crushing this early mid game for sure. It briefly looked like there was a good play onto Brain, but the 4-man knockup with the excellent timing from Killswitch's re-engage didn't even need Oriana to get that buy off. But now coming back into lane with Sork Shoes and the Haunting guys working their way towards the second item, very ahead of the curve. If we look onto the other side, Ketu here on the Varus not even finishing their first item. So gold-wise looking a little bit dire for the Goobers.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. It looked pretty, it looked pretty promising for the Goobers there. The Chain of Corruption going wide, a little bit sad, but Confused was very far from the initial fight, but the fight was drawn out long enough. Brains Nautilus was able to slink out of that one, and then OP Kill Switch, like we said before, just buying so much time, living in the back line of the Goobers on that team fight.
Yep, and now Zach there on the top side looking to pick up the Rift Herald for his team. Previously had made a play to get a couple grubs as well. With the mid lane tower already down, we've got to think this will be the beginning of cracking open a few more towers, but Sourcewalker may be looking on the flank.
Yeah, looks like ID Neon are kind of overloaded on the top side with Zach and Oriana sort of duoing the grubs. As we see, I'm down really slinking out of that one. And Braum actually moving up to the top side. So the dust is going to settle. So what really will Viscaria be able to accomplish down here that's worth not really facilitating Ketu in the bot lane there?
Yeah, does end up picking up the Rift Herald, so another objective going over to ID Neon. Now a few members hovering around the mid lane looking, sniffing out for any potential place to be found, but there are none so far. We do have the Neon members pushing in towards this bot tower, looking to get a bit more damage from there.
Yep. No, it's Dragons down for 3 minutes, so there's not a whole lot to be fighting around here. You'll just see both teams looking to power up for the next time that they try to take a run at each other, if you will. But yeah, Varus and Ari, they have sort of a catch comp with themselves here. They kite back and they catch really well. That's what they got to do. And but so far it's been ID Neon dictating a lot of the pace here. Viscaria has a blast cone here, so he's going to be totally fine. But yeah, it's all about the team fights for ID Neon, diving in on targets and kind of just being unrelenting with their approach.
Yeah, unrelenting has been a strategy that has worked out swimmingly so far, coming up with a hefty gold lead, a hefty kill lead, and sure to follow a couple more objectives. Lane swaps starting to come out here in this mid game as the Goobers bot lane transitions into mid. Heppo going to hold that for now, but I expect the opposing bot lane to match soon enough.
Yep. Some major item completions coming in for the Goobers, so they are going to be well poised for the next fight that does break out. They are they're putting something together, but it seems like duct tape holding together this squad at the moment as they are down 5K at 17 minutes.
Yeah, and that's a very significant deficit. We do have everyone with their first item completed, but on the opposing side, Neon, it's several members with 2 items looking either completed or looking towards completion here. Gold gap in a few of the lanes, very significant. Just in the mid lane, 2.5K there. This Oriana is going to be pulling a lot of weight.
Yep, absolutely couldn't agree more. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on when the initial engage comes out from ID Neon. Are the Goobers going to be able to kite back? Are they going to survive the initial engage? And is that Varus, K2 on the Varus, going to be able to sort of ramp up through some of these tanks? Because the Blade of the Rune King followed up by what's likely to be a Ginsu's Rage Blade, if I know my Varus build. The ramp damage coming in from that champion in this particular game is going to be something that can shred through the health bars of a Zac and a Nautilus.
Yeah, as we have a 2-on-1 play coming out in the top lane. I'm down with the hookshot already expended, getting ghosted on, trying to get chased down, does get the stun. CC Chang starts on out. The Hextech ultimatum comes on down, looking for Sourcewalker, gets kidnapped over the wall. Even Ketu is here to join in on the fun. Kill one be donated over to the Varus. The Hail of Arrows narrowly missing there, but does pick it up. 4-for-1 play on the top side, but immediately we have the response. Rift Herald being dropped down in the bottom lane, and the bottom laners of ID Neon pushing in towards mid as well. Bit of a misdrive of the Herald from Kill Switch, but you know, sometimes it happens. I've done that myself. Marzion now forced to burn the ulti, and the Void Grub happily taking that charm for the comrade there.
Yeah, you always wonder, like, what is the value of Void Mites spawns? And we just saw it right there. They can actually block skill shots for you. ID Neon have full control of the bot side because 4 members of the Goobers were sent top to make sure that I'm Down was actually going to fall to that play. So they converted, they got something, but there was no shutdown on that player, and they surrendered a lot of pressure down towards the bot side of the map. If the Rift Herald had been used a little bit cleaner, it could have been even one of those tier 2 towers. Unfortunately not. We're going to have to practice driving in a practice tool one of these days. OP kill switch, and Dragon falling over to ID Neon. I'm Down, finds himself up against 3 members once again.
Yep, 3v1, hookshot takes him out easily. Teleport coming in for some additional coverage if needed. We might actually see an extended collapse coming out from ID Neon. Viscara going to get found out in the bush, starting the CC chain, but the OT goes onto Sourcewalker and absolutely evaporated between the members of the ID Neon. Viscara trying to take the Hex Skate out, but that's not going to be a possibility. Chain of Corruption missing. Braum now going to be under pressure, forced to burn the flash, but the Nautilus hooks are unrelenting. I'm Down actually under a lot of trouble there, just one auto away from being stunned, but still manages to survive. Now Heppo on a killing spree, and there's the flash
kill switch!
Kill switch, getting the double knock up, and the chase continues on to Ketu now. We have 4 members looking, but now they are disinterested in the champions. They are interested in this Baron spawning right at 20 minutes.
Yeah, so unfortunate for the Goobers to be picking a team fight right as the Baron will spawn, really in the same neighborhood that the Baron was spawning in. So lack of forethought there on the side of the Goobers. ID Neon actually going to be able to secure the first purple worm of the game at basically 20 minutes. That is a stat to absolutely brag about. Recalls are going to come through, and the gold lead is just going to balloon. And it's not just about the gold lead. It's about how much of that is actually spent, because they're all coming off a fresh reset, right? So we're going to look at some of these item completions coming through, a lot of luxury items coming through. The situation just went from bad to worse.
Yeah, it's going to be about 2 items to 1 across the board here for the carries. I'm Down whacking down this top lane tower as the rest of the team starting to join them on the map shortly. And this Baron is going to be a bit of a death knell, I'm afraid, for this game. Even though it's only 20 minutes and it's an 8,000 gold lead, towers are going to start falling all over the map.
Yep, totally. I think ID Neon are just going to hope to pressure all 3 lanes at once. And they've got this unrelenting sort of side laner in the Camille, just kind of taking little bites out of Joust's health bar, excuse me. And we'll be gearing up for what looks like a bot side setup for the Dragon that's spawning soon. Push the waves, and let's keep team fighting. OP kill switch has been absolutely clean, but Brain actually went crazy that last fight on his Nautilus there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting hook after hook after hook onto the crucial members. It does seem like ID Neon taking a little bit of time to get these waves in where they want them to go, but gradually are going to work down these tier 2 towers. This mid lane one, just a few autos away from falling, does end up doing so. Looks like the Goobers may be looking for some sort of flank or collapse onto that mid lane, but not going to find an opportunity to push the window. And, you know, we mentioned previously in draft that these go buttons...
Oh my god, that's all out.
Yeah, that is all out, that's for sure. I'm Down now finding themselves in the middle of 3 members once again, 0-3 on this Camille, but has been the target of some heavy bullying coming in from the side of the Goobers. Now Chain of Corruption landing onto the Nautilus, but Brain seems like he just wants to walk that one off. A 3-man Shockwave is going to do insane amounts of damage. Marzion looking for a charm onto the side, but not going to get it, and now it's going to be Kill Switch playing frontline in the middle. This Zac, healthy as can be, not going to be bothered about things whatsoever, pushing now towards the inhibitor.
Yeah, I'm starting to really love what ID Neon have drafted for themselves. Normally, Zac is not this blind pickable champion, but when you know you've got a Jax jungle player on the other side that wants to play a slow, heavy econ sort of game, all the power to you. You're not you like he wasn't invaded. His early game was not. He wasn't set behind. In fact, he was just able to enable so much of what Brain wants to do, specifically bot lane aggression, and then punishing Horizon on his way back to mid lane there was so nice.
Yes, slow heavy econ might have been the game plan for the Goobers, but this game has been anything but slow, and the econ has been anything but heavy for them, as now we have Soul Point coming up onto the window. But I wonder if ID Neon might even just look to skip that and continue to pressure with this mid inhib going down.
Yeah, no, it is a lower bracket playoff match, so you do want to guarantee yourself the win here. Do whatever it takes not to throw. So we'll see if they opt in for more of a slow, methodical approach, or if they look for something absolutely crazy explosive, as we've seen OP Kill Switch opt in for in the past. So Interested to see how they play out this next little sequence, but they are bolstering a 10,000 gold lead, so there's not too many wrong decisions that they can make here.
Yeah, certainly not. And even getting hit by the charm there, Killswitch only barely gets his Moss Stomper shield broken, as absolute control over this bottom side jungle quadrant belongs to the member of ID Neon as they look to take this dragon.
Yeah, and they've got 0 anti-heal purchased on the side of the Goobers against the Zac with a full Spirit Visage, Ravenous Hydra Camille, and so they're looking towards Varus E. That's the Copium. Kedu saying, "Don't worry, I got us, guys. We're just gonna put the Varus E on to Zac's head, and he won't be able to heal through anything." So it's not looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it is not looking good. That is their prayer, but I'm not sure it's one that will be answered. Mid lane Hip continues to go down. I would like to see potentially, if we're going to do this, as methodical as possible to get the last of the inner towers, and then on the next Baron spawn, I imagine that might be the last siege that the Neon members need.
Yeah, they've sort of flipped up their setup on the map there. So you see I'm down going to the bot side. He has teleport for the Baron that is spawning in a minute 30. So will there be a team fight straight up in the jungle, or are they going to look to bait the Baron slowly? We see Confused pushing in that top wave oh so quickly.
Yep, the members of the Goober sticking together as 5, trying to wrest back whatever control they can find in their own jungle, having to overload to have any chance of making that happen. Now we have Hex Flash coming on over, looking to siege down that tower, just as mentioned, but now it's Braum getting hooked up, Viscera getting going to fall down almost immediately, but no, lives on 1 HP, and now Marzion is going to be the target of their aggression. The disengage looks like it was just enough to buy their life, but we'll see if it is enough to buy the health of their tower. Baron still coming up on 1 minute, and Neon showing no signs of relenting.
Yeah, I'm down just slapping that bot lane. He's got 6 scrubs behind him. He's got his split pushing items. And Brain just seems to be walking in the enemy team's face without any fear at all. So it's so far in this game 1, it's all come out ID Neon. They've executed their sort of team composition and win conditions really, really well. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I'm down. So you'll see this go on for ages. Looks like he's just always holding the skill shot. Ghost popped.
Yep, Ghost expended for Joss, looking for the slow chase down and actually doing a lot of damage, but on the other end, no even time to look at that as Marzion is immediately going to fall. Sourcewalker looking for a stun, but forced to walk out himself. Killswitch getting taken down to slightly lower HP, but still going to remain healthy enough as the push continues. This Zac going to heal off of those flops for sure. That's going to be another inhibitor tower falling on down. Will the Neon members look for another engage here? Shockwave not available for the moment. The inhibitor is going to fall without any further contest. Cassante looking potentially for something, not going to find it though.
Yeah, ID Neon probably just going to pull out of this one. I'm down, did fall down in the 1v1 down bottom against Joust there. So Joust has been doing well for himself on the Cassante, but the rest of the house is absolutely burning. It has been on fire for a little while now. Baron number 2 is on the menu for ID Neon. They're going to look to close this one out as cleanly as possible. You might even see them go towards the Hextech Soul, but they're completing items that no player here is used to completing at this stage in the game.
Yeah, maybe though. We got 3 items on all of the major carries, and I think that is going to be the finishing touch for the Neon members. Getting 5-man reset, pushing out together. They got 2 inhibs down. They can just 5-stack bottom if they want, push down those last 2 towers, force the Nexus. They can play some members on the mid lane. I mean, really, the world is your oyster at this point.
Yep, it's going to be on the Goobers to really keep an eye out on finding areas of vision, pockets to sort of operate in. Can you get a catch where one of the players is sort of walking into you unsuspecting, get a Chain of Corruptions in there, and the Braum passive on maybe one of the tanks that are face checking you, and that's sort of your ticket to slow this game down and catch some waves for yourself. Remember, eyes on Kitu. He does have his sort of Blade of the Rune King Ginsu's combination, so there is a potential for him to ramp up in one of these fights. But the way OP Killswitch has been playing it, he's living in your backline rent free.
Yeah, it looks like they want to try and push through mid here. Killswitch looking for some kind of hidden engage from the side. The inhibitor has respawned, so will want to siege that one down. Are able to walk up pretty brazenly just in front of everybody. This inhibitor going to go down without much of a contest, and now they're going to set their sights down onto this bottom tower. Joss trying his best to hold, but his best just might not be enough. There's the Unstoppable, and there is the Shockwave going on to Sourcewalker. Nautilus ulti comes on as well, and now it's going to be a full-on brawl. Viscaria is going to be the first one to fall there. Flash already forced out from Ketu, and now Jaws desperately trying to catch Kite back as Ketu pumping out whatever damage as he can, but that is simply not going to be enough. Now gets stunned up by the Camille. Hextech Ultimatum issues. Source Walker falls on the front as Ketu falls on the back. That was a really convincing victory, and in 29 minutes, it's going to be ID Neon absolutely blasting the Goobers in Game 1.
Yep, we'll see what adaptations the Goobers are going to make in draft and in game number 2 here, because they got to switch something up because they didn't have enough answers. Joust, big shout out to Joust, really doing well in the top lane to absorb a lot of pressure and find a couple solo kill angles. Bright light for his team, but the rest of the Goobers were falling short in answering some of the aggression coming in from ID Neon.
Yeah, if we look back at that game, I know we missed the first couple of minutes, but what really went wrong for the Goobers? Because, we loaded in, certainly Neon had a lead, but it didn't seem insurmountable, but it looked like every single engagement that went on down, it was always Neon coming up on top.
Yeah, similar to the conversation that we had about sort of draft. Whenever you have Braum versus Nautilus, it feels like the Nautilus is on like a bit of a timer. He has to get ahead, and OP Killswitch absolutely knew that, and he passed down to the bot lane and really forced it really down their throats really fast and really early. So the Braum wasn't able to get those levels. Once Braum hits level 6, it just feels like he has so many answers to what Nautilus is going to do in the game. But when Confused is sporting a Kraken Slayer before Varus can put together any real item, the game just feels so much nicer to play from the side of ID Neon. So I'd say OP Killswitch was just way too active on the map. We got to find something, whether it's a jungle matchup or banning out some of his best champions. Got to find something to slow this guy down because he's smurfing on the Rift today.
Yeah, absolutely put out a heck of a performance in that Game 1, just like you said. Now, we're going to be waiting for a couple minutes just for everyone to get back into the lobby, get the drafts back on. So bear with us for a moment as we get the second game set up, and see y'all soon. Alrighty, welcome back everyone to game 2 of the Targon Division elimination bracket. In the first match, we saw the Goobers taken down in pretty domineering fashion by Neon, who was able to push their tempo and win teamfight after teamfight, secure all of the relevant objectives. 29 minutes, game was over. We're going to game 2 now. What adjustments are you hoping to see come out?
So looks like the bans are staying relatively the same. The Azir is the only swap out. The Azir is now up. The Orianna is down. We're going to see if the Goobers have what it takes to sort of, are they going to go out without singing their song, or are they going to make a comeback that'll bring us into game number 3? Adaptations, I think it mostly comes down to jungle matchup dynamic. Playing a heavy econ with lanes that need attention wasn't a very profitable style for the Goobers. They fell behind early and often. So a different draft strategy to facilitate the carry jungle coming out from Sourcewalker, or does Sourcewalker look for a pick that can more service his lanes? So they can eke out some advantages for themselves. And so far, what we're seeing in the draft is the Goobers do not think it is a draft issue. They think it is a play issue. So behind closed doors in the Discord call with the coach, I'm assuming there was a conversation of, do we want to stick to our guns? Do we want to go with something similar? Was it a play issue? Because I thought Kidu did very well on the Varus, probably finished the game around two kills, 1 death, and 0 assists, right? It was not much that he could have done in that game. So get Viscaria on maybe a support counter pick with some more kill pressure or proactivity in the game. Sourcewalker is opting in for the Udyr, one of his signature picks. He's going to look to full clear. He's going to play a heavy resource game. So what will ID Neon respond with to sort of keep their momentum going in this series?
Yeah, so some slight adjustments coming out here, both in terms of the rosters and in terms of the picks. We did hear that the starting mid laner for the Goobers, Midnight, will be playing in this game too. Their internet ISP issues did get resolved, so that is all good to hear that your team will be playing with the roster you're used to. And, maybe part of the issue with that first game was a bit of team cohesion. But yeah, Udyr, very strong champion, great clearer, great ganker, great utility throughout. Answered by Nami, definitely a much more traditional pairing with the Lucian and Shinzao, a bit of a premier jungler right now, I feel like, in terms of all levels. So play Cassante being blinded in the top lane. We saw it work out pretty well for the Goobers in the previous game, so it seems like they find no reason to change up that part of their draft.
Yeah, the Goobers opting in for a bit of a salty run back. Very similar style comp, some of the same exact picks. We'll see what they round out with. They got to find a support that can kind of answer the aggression coming in from Lucian Nami. Do they pick up like a Nautilus for themselves that might go down in pressure and lane, but have more engaged? Because right now, what the Goobers are lacking in their composition is sort of point and click hard engage. They have a lot of beefy frontliners, a lot of run at you style champions, but in terms of reaching this Lucian that is going to be powered up by the Nami, that is yet to be answered in their draft. So we'll see what they look to pair it with. ID Neon going to pinch away Karma, not a champion we typically see in the meta anymore, but maybe they're targeting that towards Viscaria, saying maybe the overwhelming push power of a Karma Varus, or maybe even the Karma Flex pick on 4 is maybe what they're thinking of. OMG going to take out the Olaf away from I'm down, get him away from some of his counter matchups. Is the Camille going to go through again? And it looks like it's going to be a Syndra ban targeted towards Heppo in that mid lane. He had a fantastic game number 1 on the Orianna, and that's why it's on the ban list. And then we saw that Nautilus taken away by ID Neon. So what will the Goobers pick that give them sort of agency or a winning lane matchup here in that bot lane? And it's going to be the Blitzcrank. So they're actually just tripling down on the risk associated with a Blitzcrank pick. This pick is fantastic if you're the best player in the lobby. And this pick can look absolutely useless in a lot of games. So if you're trying to hook a Lucian with dash up, that will not work. So OMG, they do have a lot of pick tools now on their side.
Yeah, before the Blitzcrank was locked in, I was going to say in terms of engage, it does seem a lot more sparse than in the previous game where you have a Zac that can really snap engage from several screens away. You have things like a Jack Stun and so on coming out. But Blitzcrank, the upside is, Shinzao, Nami, Lucian, these three champions all going to be very prime hook targets, so not going to be fussed whatsoever if it lands onto any of those. But Set, that's a bit more of a frontliner. Maybe you don't want him as part of the team, so maybe some of the reasoning going into that pickup as well.
The only thing I was going to add or maybe contest about what you just said is my experience hooking a Xin Zhao into your team. That guy's unkillable, especially with an enchanter behind him. So it's going to be on the Goobers to find angles that they can really work from. Love the Corki pickup. Gives them a lot of safe wave clear control. It's a pick that's not susceptible to anything that OMG have going on for themselves. So what will they pick on our number 5 with their starting mid laner? Will Midnight have something to pressure and snowball the early game weakness of the Corki lane? Or are you going to match the scaling and pick up a Vigar for yourself? That would be an interesting adaptation for them on game number 2 when their backs are against the wall, and it is going to be that Vigar lock.
Yeah, and with that Vigar lock, it looks like the Goobers are opting into a pretty control-based teamfight structure. I mean, we have Vigar buying a lot of space. You have Cassante who can take someone out of the fight. Udyr with the frosted ground and whatever that thing is. There's a lot of tools for them to kind of split up the team composition of Neon and maybe take on parts of their team piecemeal. And Neon, in terms of reach, it does feel like they might have a little bit more trouble starting fights compared to last game, where you can just have a Zac just start jumping in sort of willy-nilly. Shinzao does have a long-range dash option, but is much more skill shot reliant, and everyone else kind of either range carries or just doesn't have the same amount of kind of gap close or snap engage potential as we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, a little bit more execution on their side is going to be needed. I will say when they do have package, I do believe they can look to sort of brute force the backline. But yeah, I don't have a ton of experience playing Set, but playing Set when there's CC immune on the Udyr and an unstoppable from the Cassante, is it easy to sort of just time that well, or is it something that is going to have I'm down pulling his hair out? If he loses that cooldown in a team fight, that could be pretty key versus the upside of throwing a high HP target like Cassante onto his own team here. So we'll see if ID Neon are going to be building off the momentum that they had in game number 1, where it was sort of like all full speed ahead, bot side control, mid lane, just domination. And we snowball forth onto a team fight victory at 20 minutes, and then we hit the purple worm. Or are the Goobers going to come back with something to say about this one? Are they going to try and snowball one of their lanes? Is this Blitzcrank going to work out for them? Let's find out shortly.
Yeah, I do have a lot of eyes on this Blitzcrank, as previously it seemed like Nautilus on Neon's side was the one getting all of the highlights in the Braum, maybe sort of getting bullied out a little bit. But this is a chance for the narrative to get turned around. And between the two team comps, do you have any side that you're favoring more for this game too? Do you think Goobers have drafted what it can take to win?
I stare at Xin Zhao
All right, everyone, welcome back as the action immediately begins with the hook landing onto Brain. Flash for flash traded here onto the supports. Ignite also drops Sourcewalker running down with the chase, but a heal coming out as well is going to keep Nami safe and healthy. We got game 2 starting off with some fireworks. Summoners traded all over the place, and Goobers getting a bit of a some advantage in this bot lane.
Yeah. Summoners burned on both sides. Anytime there's a Blitzcrank in the game, you got to be careful for that invade opportunity. And that's just going to create a little bit less safety down there for that Lucian Nami that need to get through the early levels with the threat of a Blitzcrank. And it looks like they're going to load a brush for a potential round number 2.
Yeah, they want to cheese it, but they were spotted by that Tribush ward, so Brain here should be very aware of exactly what's going on. Viscaria peeking out of that bush to try and find something, but confused, just going to get a little bit of gold instead in response.
As I'm looking at the stream, I just see that we are indeed looking at the fountain and not the action-packed game, so we'll look into fixing that for you guys momentarily. But yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a standard lane setup. Junglers are both starting on their top sides respectively. But yeah, Summoners blown in the bot lane, so expect the Xin Zhao to try to make an early cover play on there and maybe even take a run at that Blitzcrank with no flash. And then is the Udyr just going to opt in for the full clear? We will have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna try and figure out what might be going on with the spectate being stuck here. The game is running, but might need Jordan to solo cast for just a moment as I
Yeah, no problem. I got this. And it looks like both teams are just sort of jockeying for position, trading the first couple waves. Joe's sitting on 1 CS at the moment. He's got his wave in front of his tower, so he's going to be able to pick up, hopefully, most of that, so he doesn't fall too far behind early. But yeah, all eyes are going to be on this bottom lane shortly. Hopefully, we will be dealing with more than just a mini map, but we're going to have to see if the Blitzcrank is going to be able to find an angle to convert something for the Goobers on this game number 2. So important for them to keep their playoff hopes alive. And it looks like it, and you're just going to have to go by my play-by-play. We're seeing First Blood in the bot lane. The Nami is fallen to a jungle gank by Sourcewalker. The first time in the series that Sourcewalker has been able to influence a lane before OP Killswitch, who has been playing so well on the Rift throughout the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And so sorry, everyone, once again for the production issues. I'm going to just pause real quick and try and restart the spectate stream here. Going to hopefully be able to get out of this fountain camera bug. So please bear with us for just a moment as we try and sort that out. Hello everyone, so sorry once again for the technical difficulties. I was informed that the bot was stuck on manual camera, so we had a thrilling view of the blue side Nexus for the first couple minutes. But we are back, much more even game state here now in this game 2, about 8 to 9 minutes in. Slight gold lead coming over on the side of ID Neon, but overall seeming like a much more stable game state as we have Sourcewalker maybe looking to have something happen here in the bottom lane.
Yep, we're going to see. Okay, Viscaria puts the hook out, but Sourcewalker is here. Chain of Corruption's out.
Immediately going to be answered by the culling and confused, not too fussed with what happened. Adapting the situation well, did have to burn both summoners, but does get a big chunk on the opposing team in exchange. And kill switch doesn't need to be asked twice, goes right on to the dragon.
Yep, prioritizing the early objectives. Again, so sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. Similar to when your power goes out, it honestly just feels like sometimes there's just nothing you can do to make the damn thing work. But we got the damn thing working. We're going to bring a riveting early mid-game transition, mid-late game at all. We're going to bring it all to you. Is ID Neon going to close out the series, or is Omega Gaming Goobers going to put forth their best effort to come back in this one? So it looks like their bot lane is on the back foot early. Trade kills in the mid lane. One of the junglers went down, and then Joust has found another solo kill despite being down in CS by almost 20 in the set Cassante matchup. But it looks like I'm Down might be biting off more than he can chew, but he's going to be just fine right there.
Yeah, Set Grit is one hell of an ability, and Joss rapidly running out of mana, trying his best to clear this wave, but it's going to be a tough state for him to survive in this top lane, running out of resources pretty quickly. I'm Down, going in for a couple more punches there. These Set passive autos are going to be hurting dramatically, and speaking of the mid lane too, we got Viscaria running up to Heppo. There goes the guaranteed CC chain, starting with the knockup, but the cage slightly misplaced, so with the aid of Flash, Heppo going to burn out, and now it's going to be a 3-man turn there. Flash is forced out of both mid laners there as Midnight fleeing from the 3-man gank. OP kill switch looking for a bit of vision. Viscaria trying to look for a hook maybe onto the sidelines, not going to find it though, and everyone walks away with their lives.
And Kidu actually finds himself in the top lane on the Varus. Might be a swap initiated, something to do with the grub spawn. Maybe they're trying to dissuade the 6 grub game that ID Neon found themselves in the last time around. So they've initiated the swap. This is going to give Confused quite a little bit of free time whacking away on this bot lane tower, getting some plates for himself. So the gold lead is going to grow. And will this Goober swap amount to anything major? They're going to burn Brain's Flash for the second time.
Yeah, Nami finding herself in a very unfortunate situation there, face to face with both a very angry robot and a very angry bear. And now we got a bit of a 2v3 top lane situation going on here as I'm Down, looking to engage onto Ketu. The pull is going to miss, and that means he's got to flee away. Viscaria does land true with the hook, and the CC chain is started. Exhaust going on down, but Set ready to turn this right around. There's the big punch. Viscaria in danger, but does flash out and survive. But now Ketu is getting knocked out by kill switch there. This Xin Zhao absolutely brutal, and a wind becomes lightning as Ketu becomes dead, going straight into the grave there. What a nice display of the mechanics on the Xin Zhao, and we're talking about this swap coming out as a way to contest the grubs, but looks like the ID Neon members not going to be too fussed about that whatsoever, using a bit of a Valkyrie for some extra DPS and going to pick up their reward even so.
Yep, no, I'm Down. Kind of get caught greeting the Flash there on the W. Wasn't able to get the distance. They almost pulled off the 2v3, and then OP kill switch came in to absolutely save the day. I think he has had a tremendous impact here, as Heppo might be in a little bit of trouble. Going to Valk out of that one.
Oh, just barely missing the hook there. Did have to go for that one blind. Was a flashless Corki, so would have likely died should that hook landed, but going to survive for another day.
Yeah, ID Neon is doing a great job of making sure that they don't fall over to any of the Goober shenanigans. They tried some lane swap stuff. Now Midnight finds himself in the top lane, and ID Neon is absolutely keeping their composure. I like what they did in there. So they're sort of activating their stronger members as we see more action in the mid lane, but I don't know if you wanted this skirmish.
Yeah, looking for the pick onto Heppo once again, but Killsquitch just going to pull off an easy double as Joss now going to find himself in a 1v2. Can he get the trade on the bot lane? No, confused with the assistance of Brain is going to take that 2v1 down as 3 more members of the Goobers fall, and now things are starting to look a little bit more awry. The Go lead pulling out onto 4,000, going to pick up another plate here, maybe even the first tower as well.
Yeah, Jost finds himself 1v2 and goes down at the rate of it. Couldn't find the outplay there. And then the bot lane gets double killed in the mid lane. So it's looking like similar picture towards the first game here. Viscaria gonna try his luck here.
Yeah, trying his luck again, and this time the CC chain is good. Unfortunately, the Ignite is the ability to pick things up, and now Ketu absolutely tanking every missile of the phrase. Brain giving a small splash before being shut down himself, and now Viscaria looking for the flank onto Heppo, trying to Valkyrie around, does land the hook, but shortly at the prize of his life. Heppo picks up another one as now he's caught in between Joust and Sourcewalker, and surely going to go down this time around. Flash still unavailable, so that is 400 gold going over to the Udyr, starting out with the Liantries, interestingly enough, but that's a bit of a paltry prize as you do have multiple members falling just for that one pickup.
Yeah, and so one thing I will point out towards is Kidu does have the lethality set up on the Varus this time around. His items are cheaper, and his effectiveness in this game, shooting arrows out to squishier targets, is going to be very good. So I'd say like there is definitely hope for the Goobers here. They are picking up a dragon. They're dissuading the idea of a soul early on in this one. ID Neon are looking to push in to sort of punish. They're getting a lot of damage on that top lane turret. They're pushing in mid, and they are going to look towards the Rift Herald. But the Goobers are strong, sort of where it matters. Sourcewalker is going to try and put on the big carry pants this game, and their front line is going to be very, very large. Jost is ahead of curve on his Cassante this game, doing quite well for himself, finding some of these last hits. Really unfortunate that the Blitzcrank finds himself with the last hit there, as he finds himself a little bit caught in his own jungle here.
There goes the culling. It's so much damage as I'm down. Smashes down the Blitzcrank under his own tower. Now under a lot of pressure, though, but that grit is providing so much effective HP. Finally does end up falling as Joust may be looking for a bit more of an engagement there, but as the melee champion doesn't find the gap close, as Lucian dashes his way into the Vigar cage, but the damage is just not quite there yet at this point in time. So gonna be a clean pickup onto the set.
Yeah, really nice for Confused to be able to sort of get the first strike gold from the culling onto Viscaria there. When Lucian and Nami sort of transition into mid lane, it can just feel so suffocating when he's always looking to insta-clear the wave and then look for angles to cash in on the first strike culling. You see Rapid Fire now completed for him, so he's having a fantastic game. Imperial Mandate on the Nami, they are very, very much online, so it's going to be up to the Goobers to find more of these surprise plays. Viscaria has been finding some good aggressive angles, but has also racked up a couple deaths for himself. So he's going to look to be another catalyst for action in this mid game.
Yeah, the hooks have generally been landing, but sometimes they have resulted in unfavorable situations. Just like you mentioned, this Lucian Nami looking very scary, able to pressure every single mid wave as soon as it comes in. 1.4k ahead of the opposing Varus here, as now some pressure goes down onto the red side jungle looking for this blue buff steal.
Yep, OP kill switch going to force his hand on the map here. Has his team to sort of back him up. Lucian going to go back to that mid wave, but yeah, so many members on ID Neon, the Corki and the Lucian, their economy matters so much, as a suicide blast cone in to start this one off.
Yeah, might look like a suicide, but looks like they stay healthy enough for now. And Killswitch absolutely not backing down against the CC. Confused, taking a lot of damage onto the backside, but Killswitch still chasing on forward. There goes the culling, but mostly just going to land into thin air. 4 members there ready to pressure back. Dragon still a couple minutes before spawning, so nothing much to fight over just for the moment. A Valk goes forward onto Ketu, burning the flash over the wall as well. So a lot of summoner spells expended on that engagement. That's going to have immediate consequences when the next Dragon spawn comes up.
Yeah, a lot of blinking health bars. A little bit dangerous there, but Rift Herald in the mid lane going to break that one open. Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, so bot side control is going to be paramount. Or will ID Neon look to control top side similar to the way they did last time? Okay, Hapu finds a nice cage. Yeah, a lot of damage coming down from Ketu's Varus and Midnight here on the Vigar, offering them a little bit of dissuasion here, but I'm down, taking a bite out of Joust once again.
Yeah, top laners looking for a flank, but instead just going to end up tussling with each other. Dragon still got a minute and such before spawning. Kill switch just barely dodging out of that hook there. Confused, maybe looking for a little bit of something, just barely dodges out of that Vigar cage as well. So a lot of close calls around this mid lane as we got a brief ARAM before the objective ends up spawning.
Yep, sort of the calm before the storm. Get back to base, get some more wards, get your max amount of gold spent here before the dragon fight, I imagine. But a 5k gold, or yeah, a 5k gold lead on the side of ID Neon, very much in a commanding position. So the question is going to be, is Corki going to have package for dragon? That's usually the standard thought when you draft Corki, is dragon timer means package timer. So we'll see if he's able to pick that one up. He does have the teleport for himself, so you imagine that ID Neon will be favored in this dragon if there was to be a fight. So will Viscoria find an area to look for a hook? Because outside of a catch, I don't see how they can ever really enter bot side river.
Yeah, certainly Neon favored in this engagement, but the wild factor of the hook does make things possible still if it lands onto the correct target. Bit of a late reset coming out for Source Walker, going to be joining his team shortly. TP available for both top laners as well, so certainly good chances of seeing a bigger clash here. It is going to be Neon taking first position in the Dragon Pit, though, having priority on that mid-wave kill switch, narrowly getting caught by the Vigar cage, but is going to be able to dodge out of things. Viscaria looking for the hook, but missing on that one. Kill switch does hit the wind become lightning, deciding not to take it in just yet.
Yep, and you see Heppo recalling right now. He's probably going to look to pick up package. He does have the teleport, so he's wearing it right now. So the enemy team just got their big sirens out, and we're seeing a calling in the mid lane.
Yeah, culling chunk, but mostly going into the shield of Source Walker, managing to stay reasonably healthy there. It is still mid lane priority over to the side of Neon. Viscaria looking for a hook over the wall, maybe going to be able to find Heppo, but there is no ward for him to spot. So he is going to be the one getting spotted out instead, and already getting poked down here. This Corki package available, rockets available, poking out the enemies, making sure that they're going to go nowhere near this dragon pit as they are going to try and take this dragon and the mid lane tower at once.
Yep, package only lasts 45 seconds now, so he will have to use it to either transition back into bottom lane, but it looks like Dragon has been surrendered, and ID Neon are going to slap a tier 2 in the mid lane on top of their very long shopping list.
Yeah, and it seems like the Goobers are finding some difficulty trying to make things happen. We did have Shinzao that entire time committed onto the dragon, but despite that, what could have been a numbers advantage in the mid lane play just didn't seem like they were able to find the tools to get things happening. Viscaria now taking a little bit more poke as these Corki rockets are absolutely brutal. And there we go, Engage starts on to Joust. Viscaria taking down 1 HP already, but a lot of damage traded back onto Confused there. The Varus arrow lands true, and Midnight going to pick up that kill in response. So losing one member there, Viscaria still staying alive, and a good amount of gold getting back into the pockets of the Goobers.
Yep, and that's what we were talking about. Ketu on this Varus, he's been largely fallen very far behind curve, but because his items are cheaper, because he's just going for that burst damage, is absolutely able to cut through the squishy health bar of Confused on the Lucian. And really nice pickup, and it slows the game down just a little bit.
Yep, and the dragon that was taken earlier will slow things down a little bit more as well. On paper, the trade maybe not that great. I mean, you did lose a top tower for it, as well as the Rift Herald, but those 5 minutes that you buy for yourself before the soul, every one of those minutes can be precious when you're looking to get your carries back in the game.
Yep, absolutely. So a couple key item components coming through. I do believe Source Walker's backing for his Knight's Vow now, so the team fighting potential. The front line is absolutely strong, and the back liner, as we see a Death Cap and the Shrelia is completed by the Vigar. Haven't seen those two items paired that close together on a champion in a while, but here we are. And so we're going to see the team fighting power come out. It's a closer affair. It is still 6k gold separating these two teams here in game number 2, but the hope is definitely more than the grim picture that was painted in game number 1.
Yeah, and the good news for the Goobers is that the gold lead has not ballooned that much since the last time we checked in on it. Hook narrowly missing out onto both Nami and Shinzao. They're Confused, continuing to pressure this mid wave as far up as he can. So it looks like Neon still going to maintain control over the middle lane and the surrounding vision, pressuring the Baron here as it does get started.
All right, so this is probably the Goobers' best chance to get back in this one. If they do encourage the flip, and they do find a miracle hook or something. But it looks like Joust, do they not know about this, or is Joust just kind of waltzing back to the bottom lane? He needs to teleport.
Yeah, surely
Unless
they
they're
do, and the
just content
teleport does
giving
get
this.
pulled. It is Baron on to 5k HP. I'm down, zoning away almost the entirety of the team, getting under a lot of pressure there, but there goes the punch. Is going to get absorbed by the Vigar Shield. Faust on the other side of the fight, trying to hold people off 1v4, does manage to survive for just a moment, but now it's both top laners down. Vigar Cage going to split up the fight a little bit more once again. Corki Rockets continuing to go onto the poke. There's the wind becomes lightning, and Killswitch is in the front line. Now Sourcewalker is already going down. The chase goes on to Ketu. The Cage buys a little bit more time once again. The kill trade is unfavorable for the Goobers, but the Baron is denied.
OP kill switch, whether it's a carry, whether it's a tank, seems to be finding insane engage angles in the jungle coming in throughout the series. Game number 1 looked really nice on the Zac, and game number 2 putting the carry pants on the Xin Zhao. I was looking towards his shutdown as the number 1 way for Goobers to get back in. If we were able to get a Blitzcrank hook and maybe a Blitzcrank ult to nullify the Sterak's shield, the Xin Zhao might be killable at that point. But now it just seems like a daunting task. The gold lead has, in fact, ballooned that we were so afraid of before to 7,000, and they're probably just going to group up and look to control the map once again. Dragon up in 1 minute, and Corki has TP once again.
Yeah, certainly possible, but most important summoner spells are available for the members of the Goobers, and a couple key flashes down for ID Neon, so maybe a pick off of the back of that will make something possible. The Goobers do have a moment to try and wrest some more Baron control, but looks like Neon is going to be focused on the spawning dragon instead, looking for Soul Point. We might see a Baron Rush tried in response, but without mid-wave control, it's going to be difficult for that.
Yeah, Lucian absolutely owns the mid lane. Joe's just trying to clear out some of that vision. They're scared of the Baron right now, so it looks like contesting the dragon might be impossible unless they can find a really good engagement.
Yeah, Brain with the nice Nami wave, though, is going to make sure that everyone stays at arm's length. The Cage does catch, but the Chain of Corruption misses on the TP, and now we might see the counter engage coming out. Killswitch finding himself in a 1v4 briefly, but not being afraid to walk forward. Joust finding himself in the middle of several enemy members as well. Does shut down the Nami, and the Blitzcrank hook does end up landing, but Killswitch and I'm down, ready to tussle here in this front line. The Xin Zhao ulti just going to last for a few more seconds as Killswitch does end up going down. 600 gold of a shutdown going into the pockets of the Vigar, and now maybe we might see the Goobers with a bit of time to breathe. They're going to start walking towards this dragon, but the Corki rocket poke still coming out, still shaming off HP bars.
Yeah, Brain played the start of that fight so incredibly well, and then found himself a little bit too close to Joust on the Cassante there. Dies to the Sunfire at the end. But really nice team fighting coming out from both sides, to be honest. The Xin Zhao shutdown is going to be massive for some of the members of the Goobers here, putting together some more of those items. Dragon Seal coming through.
Yeah, I thought they would be too late to get to that Drake, but crucially does smite it away with just 150 HP remaining. I was thinking surely they would find the confidence to contest that with the numbers advantage that they were just able to secure, and looks like they were able to run in literally the nick of time, taking away that dragon. Now 2-2 on the dragon count. Kimtech Soul, sure, not the most important, but you do want to deny that when the opponent is ahead nonetheless.
Yep. So it'll be good for the Goobers' mental to know that the Xin Zhao can actually die. He just needs to find himself in between 4 of the members. But yeah, so this Vigar is looking really, really good. But on the other side, when you're staring down the barrel of Confused on the Lucian, it just looks so grim. And this Corki, the 3 items between the 2 of them, absolutely insane damage potential coming out from them.
Yeah, certainly these carries are a force to be reckoned with, but 818 on this Vigar, and ooh, the Chain of Corruption missing once again. Confused, going to be able to escape with his life. Gotta have a bit more skill shot accuracy than that, so really unfortunate miss on the pickup there, but still able to get that mid wave and maybe looking to play for the Baron with Lucian having to take the reset.
Yep, is that chunk going to be enough to start up the Baron? But Corki does have package. He's picking it up. He's teleporting right now.
Yeah, TP is going on, and it seems like the Goobers know what's going to happen as they immediately back off the Baron. They could just play for the expiration of this package as well. Hippo now launching skill shots, trying to check for the enemy members. Wind becomes lightning, lands on. There's goes Corki, rocketing into the middle of the entirety of the enemy team as Kill Switch and I'm Down both in there as well. Jost going to be taking a lot of his HP down in damage, but Hippo is going to be shut down. Another shutdown going over to the Vygar, but a nice Q3 coming from the Cassante as a few more kills getting traded back. I'm Down falls now. Midnight dodging away from the bubble, confused, trying to kite away from the cage. It does land onto Kill Switch. The Chain of Corruption once again missing, and now Udyr going there into the fray, trying to burn away a few more HP bars. Both sides backing away with 3 members alive as a 2-for-2 trade and another shutdown going over to the Vygar.
Goobers are team fighting rather well right now. Team fights are actually being fought pretty well on both sides, but there's 5k gold lead for ID Neon, so they should not be taking a 2-for-2 here. That should be known as sort of like a misplay or a missed opportunity from them. Heppo getting a little bit overeager with his Corki package, really dove into the backline, double Valkyries out, and then has to flash out as well and find himself in a position to get killed even throughout all of that. So really chaotic fight coming in from ID Neon. But I'm Down was able to buy a lot of time on the set. Huge W coming through, and but a much closer contention, and you see the gold is getting even closer. So it's only 5k that splits them. When the last time we checked on that, it was about 7.
Yeah, certainly a chaotic fight there, and as you mentioned, some crucial resources down for the Corki. No flash, no package. And with Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, those resources will not be up for that contest. So it could even potentially be a soul point contest coming out for the Goobers, trying to keep alive throughout this gold lead, throughout these hectic fights. We do have the carries, though, of Neon continuing to propel themselves forward. Lucian almost done with his 4th item. Corki looking for that 4th one as well. But on the opposite side, this Vygar is turning into a powerhouse, picking up all of those shutdowns, now sitting on almost 900 ability power. This champion is going to sting.
Yeah, the gold is in all the right places right now because they got the strong front line, but their back line is also thriving. Despite Ketsu not finding many last hits of himself, like we talked about before, his build is a little bit cheaper. So he's able to eke out a lot of power there. So is it a Baron setup or is it a Dragon setup in 1 minute here? ID Neon get their pick of the litter on what they want to do on the map, but Viscaria is hunting for that oh-so-crucial hook.
Yep, and Kill Switch there patiently waiting on the sidelines, maybe looking for some manner of flank play. Good, there goes the Shirelli as the chase goes on in. Flash burned by Viscaria, but there's no hook to follow. It's slow, and Culling answered in response. Sourcewalker taking some chunk of the HP. The Chain of Corruption lands. Brain taking a huge chunk from the ability of Ketu, but now you know Kill Switch looking to flash on in. Ketu forced to flash in response there. Joust coming on the sidelines, maybe looking for something, but is going to be sniffed out by I'm Down on the set. Marked as a target. Kill Switch continuing to look to control their jungle. The heals coming out from the Nami going to keep their team topped on up, pushing away the opponent members and looking for this Baron.
And it's a Baron start on the table. So some key ultimates. The Chain of Corruption not really finding the mark. Kitu no flash this time around. Brain not going down, which means he can heal up his entire team. And it looks like it just might be Baron number 1 unless Goobers can get there fast.
Yeah, not enough time, but here comes the flank. Joust looking for it, getting the shove down onto I'm Down. Kill Switch trying to run away, trying to kite things out. Heppo finding Ketu there on the backside. Valkyrie's forward to try and find it, but does get cut down by the Vygar ultimate. And with the mid laner down, you know they're going to be sprinting on towards Dragon. Ketu on 1 HP though, so a contest is still possible.
Yeah, it might be a Baron for Dragon trade here. Heppo getting really overeager there, again on the Corki, kind of jumping into 4 people and counting on his ability to trade 1 for 1, but the exhaust coming out from Ketsu was pretty clutch, and he's unable to scoop anything up there. But with the Baron going down, the gold will continue to grow, and if ID Neon are able to push and get some of these outer tier 2 turrets, looks like they are in full force snowball right now.
Yeah, might be, but the Baron is a little bit slow in being utilized. They are just now bringing that wave to the tier 2 tower. We do have many members of the Goobers in the vicinity, so the tier 2 is going to fall, but I imagine they will be there to defend the tier 3. Got oodles of those Void Grubs sprinting their way towards that top tower as well.
Ooh. The empowered recalls are going to come through, and Viscaria is not going to find anything there. That's a really big feels bad. OP Kill Switch going to steal away the red and then slink on out of there. Keep your eye on the scoreboard right now because Lucian picked up his LDR and an extra Vamp Scepter to bolster. Nami has gotten 3 completed items. Shirelia's to match the Shirelia's coming out from Midnight is really important, because when they hit their go button, Viscaria is going to find that hook, and if he is unable to do that because of some fast members running around, it looks like Goobers might just be out of options.
Yep, and now we have Neon executing classic 1-3-1. They know their side laners are strong. They want to pick up this bot lane tier 2. I'm down, bring in this big Baron wave. Zhao's going to try and hold things, but his wave clear is not good, and I'm down going to wreck that tower just in front of his face. Zhao's now getting caught in the middle of 3.
Here comes Corki, and he has package.
Immediately, yup, gets the shove as well, so Zhao's gonna fall, and that's a crucial frontliner for the Goobers. Previously in those fights, with him buying space in a 1v4, holding off the opposing team, that got them so much space to work with, but now it's gonna be 40 seconds before he spawns. Can the Goobers hold against these Baron waves?
Yeah, it's got to be a miracle hook from Viscaria here on the Blitzcrank, because Heppo having package means that they're largely disabled. There's the hook, and it's going to go wide this time around.
Yeah, it's going to go wide, and that means they will likely have to give up this tower, likely the inhibitor as well, as ID Neon continues to push on forward. That pick up the top laner, paying dividends. Now looking to find a way onto mid lane. Viscaria hunting for something, does hit it onto Hippo, does have the CC change, it's good. Midnight gets another pickup, but looks like they still don't want to give up this push, still keeping these Baron waves pushed forward. Sourcewalker looking for some kind of catch here, looking on to Confuse, not going to be able to find it just yet. The hook goes in.
Oh, so much damage.
Target. Yeah, and it's going to be a ridiculous amount traded back. The culling is stinging this 4-item Lucian, showing the power of his champion.
Yeah, you can never count out a Blitzcrank team. There's always that X factor of what if he finds a hook there. And again, Heppo kind of had, I think he had the Valk available, so I'm not too sure where the miscommunication was there of like, are we going through the tower? Are we gonna dash over? Are we just gonna exit through bot lane? Some bit of a head scratcher moment there. But all in all, ID Neon getting kind of everything that they wanted out of this exchange. And Midnight has had what looks like a tremendous game, but is just unable to really have the impact to stop the onslaught of pressure coming in from ID Neon.
Yeah, I mean, there are the cages coming out, there are the shutdowns coming out, but even after one member gets picked off, it looks like Neon happy to fight with the remaining 4, and the goal difference just so extensive at this point that sometimes these 5v4s, when these resources are expended getting that first pick, are still going to be favorable for the members of Neon. Now we have Dragon coming up in just over a minute, same story with the Baron. You know that the contest is going to be in both of these teams' eyes.
Yeah, is it going to be a dragon fight? Because the Chemtech Soul, would you think that the Chemtech Soul really offers sort of the game-saving notion that some of the other souls do? I don't know. But another calling in the mid lane, going to take out the shield of Sourcewalker, going to take out the locket of Viscaria as well, establishing a lot of control here in the mid lane.
Yeah, without Baron minions, though, these are going to be significantly more clearable. So these inhibitor towers going to stand for a little bit longer. Bot inhibit pressure still going to be a concern for the members of the Goobers. Baron coming up in 1 minute. Baron, the inhibitor will not respawn by that time. But here we go. It's going to be double Shirelia's pop. Viscaria looking for the pick. Flash is traded on both supports.
Yep, and then that means that the Goobers are going to have to hightail it out of here as we see a teleport in the mid lane. That's set.
Yep, that's it, and the cage is not quite placed. Midnight in Zonias, but he's going to be in danger. Sourcewalker immediately evaporated, and the aggression goes onto Midnight. That's the team member that they needed to keep alive, and now caught in a 3v5. This could be the winning siege. The inhibitor tower immediately going to fall down. The inhibitor next to be under fire. The rocket poke comes on out. Can these 3 members hold? It is going to be Kill Switch hooked on in, but Kill Switch is going to dive in without a concern in the world. Now Jost going to try and hold against 5 members, but that's simply not possible. Off the back of a great TP play, it is going to be ID Neon finding that 2-0 closeout. The Goobers were more resilient in the second game, but it wasn't enough to close things out.
Yeah, just a really nice series coming through from ID Neon here. Goobers have some good data to sort of draw from and see like what picks worked for us, what went well, what did not go well. I thought the lethality virus this time around did a little bit well, but again, like ID Neon just kind of control the map. They control all 3 lanes. It's so hard to find the angle to really operate when Goobers are just on the back foot, just trying to scrape together any resources they can to sort of complete their items and match what. But ID Neon are just sort of one step ahead of them, and in this affair. So we'll have to see where they go with the rest of playoffs.
Yeah, they had some hopeful moments. I mean, Jost was buying a bunch of time for the rest of his team and like got a bunch of those shutdowns. But unfortunately, Neon were just too far ahead. Killswitch able to dive in repeatedly. And what a back-to-back performance from the substitute jungler coming on. And we talked about how in the second game he could be a difference maker, and he certainly made his mark known.
Totally. I thought he deserved player of the series. Killswitch really smurfed game number 1 and game number 2 on the Xin Zhao on sort of more of a carry bruiser jungler. A lot of players they're sort of in one category and not the other. So you see Source Walker here is mostly a carry jungle player, and other junglers we've seen have been sort of on the tankier side, Maokai Enjoyers, etc. But Killswitch shows some versatility and really services lanes really well tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that series, we do have ID Neon staying alive in the elimination bracket, and we will be saying goodbye to the Goobers for tonight, but still a fun, widely contested series. Game 2 a lot closer to Game 1. Well played to both teams. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been Jordan Bot and All Out Potato, and we hope to see you around in the next match.